how to play this piece that you learned a number of years ago, and you had completely recorded the whole piece, right? I remember you in my living room back in California where you played this entire piece, and we had a very good recording of it, right? But it's been a while now, so we were learning the Chopin impromptu in A flat major. So then I thought, okay, does Cody still remember the Fantasy impromptu, which is slightly more famous, right, and well known? Okay, so can we hear it?
Woohoo! Oh yeah. Ooh.
Thank you so much.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
good job, right? Good job. So, if you remember at the end of the lesson last week, right, when I mentioned this piece, which you did not know that I was going to talk about, right? Because we were working on the impromptu in A flat, so you didn't know that I was going to ask you to see if you remember this piece. So the because it had been so long ago, right? We noticed that it happens to all of us that our memory of the piece, right? Although we do know what we need to do, sometimes our finger, because we hadn't played it for a while, our finger doesn't always do what we want, right? So it's one of these things about piano, right? And playing an instrument is that sometimes it's a muscle thing, right? It's a, well, maybe not called muscle, but our mind may know what we want to do, but our fingers don't always do it, right? Unless, of course, we keep up with the practice, right? So the actual physical aspect of playing, um, you know, is what we want, right? And anyway, so at the end of the lesson last week, it was not as good, right, as it is today. So you obviously have thought about it since then, right? You obviously have done some work to revive it because it is way better.
Way
Way
better.
better, right? Not as good as you had it before yet, right? But you'll continue to bring it back alive, I'm sure, right? With obviously more
Wow.
practice, right? So the magic word here is practice, right? Like I said, I have no doubt, right? In your mind, you know what you want, right? But does the finger always do it, right? Can we always get to the note that we want when we want it to, right? That's kind of the challenge here.
That's right.
Well, I want to talk about the left hand a little bit because this piece, right, also has a very busy left hand, right? Kind of like the other impromptu in A flat. The left hand is not easy. I mean, it's not as busy as the right hand, right? But the problem is that the right hand is so busy, has so much going on that obviously we want to focus on it.
Wow.
But then unfortunately, the left hand suffers, right? So, especially coming back, right? Sometimes, right, and this is a common problem with this piece. Sometimes I hear this, and then I don't hear the last two notes, right? So the last two or three notes of the measure, our left hand sometimes is ghosted out. In other words, it doesn't come out, right? But we want to make sure that it comes out, right? We cannot be leaving the notes out, but it is a common problem, especially here. Can I still hear the last three notes, right? Sometimes, right? I don't always hear the last couple notes of the left hand pattern.
Wow.
So one of the ways to make sure that you can fix that, right, is
Wow.
to only play the left hand, right? And that's not easy to do because the left hand is kind of boring, right? But listen, right? Is every note of the left hand, right, there? We don't want any of it to kind of be a ghosty, right? Especially the last two, right? These are right. And like I said, it isn't easy, right? But
Wow.
I
Yay.
would practice the Latin on its own.
Wow.
And the strategy is firstly play the left hand loud, right? It's not easy to only play the left hand by itself without any reference of the music. I certainly don't think I could do it, right?
Wow.
But you might be able to, right? Because you're pretty special, right? So one other way to practice focusing on the left hand, right, is to deliberately still play two hands, but play the right hand extremely quiet. So just to see, right, that we are not missing any of the left hand now. So in other words, see if you can do this for me, right? So I'm going to deliberately spell out the left hand note like crazy. You see? Now obviously that's not the final result that we want, but we're practicing the left hand. Right? Especially that part, right? That part. Because the right hand is so hard, we all focus on that, and then what happens correct it a little bit. So this way of practicing. Right? So see if you can do that for me. Right? So show me very, very clear left hand on purpose.
Yeah.
And just play the right hand gently so that we can make sure that our left hand notes are not ghosted. Okay?
Wow. There goes.
Oh, watch out. Oh, see, I didn't hear that, right? So, see, the last two notes didn't really come out, right? Okay? Can you show me that measure?
There goes.
Yes. Okay, so now we know our right hand is also a little bit weak here, right? So let's focus on this part. Where were you? Right here. Okay, so there you go. So it is now better. So both hands. Right? And of course, like I said, our goal right now is to focus on the left hand to make sure that every note in the left hand is used.
Wow. Nice.
Oh, see, there was a note missing there. Hear it, right? So, right? I don't think I heard every note in the left hand. So, show me that measure.
Wow. There goes.
Oh, again, there was a missing note there. Right, you hear it? So, it's always the last couple. I didn't hear that one, right?
Wow. Nice.
Better. Better.
Wow.
Okay, so you are doing what I asked, right? Which is focusing on the left hand, playing the left hand a little louder. Another thing I want you to think about is because it's quite stretchy, right? Sometimes the thumb is quite far away from the pinky. Sometimes it's more than an octave, right? Now, sometimes it wasn't too bad, right? So that's just within the octave, but sometimes you have to go over an octave, right? So it's important to realize, right, that we can't stay in one position, right? So we need to use our wrist and swing, right, back and forth, right? So don't forget the importance of the wrist. If you make the most, right, of this movement, right? Yes. So as you're playing the pinky, you're leaning towards your pinky, right? And then you swing over to your thumb. So by the time you get to the thumb, right, your pinky is nowhere near the note that you just played. But that's the idea, right? In other words, don't keep the stretch, right? There's no need to keep the stretch because even if you keep the stretch, you can't get to the note anyway. So don't even do it, right? So that you have more comfort. Okay? That's right. Okay, so don't forget to use your wrist to help you find those left hand patterns. Okay? All right, continue. So wherever you were, see if you can keep doing what we were doing. So this is something that we're doing to consolidate the notes of the left hand. right? Because earlier, that was what I noticed is that the left hand notes are weaker than the right hand, right? Eventually, of course, we won't be playing the left hand this loud, right? But right now, we are kind of trying to be more accurate, right, with the left hand. Go.
Oh my gosh.
Good job. Much better. Not too bad, right? It's a whole lot better. Whole lot better. Again, just listen to your left hand, right? Be very, very conscientious of the left hand note, right? Especially the last note of the pattern. The last note of the pattern. The last note of the pattern, right? The final note of the pattern must not be too
Nice.
high, okay?
Woo, there it is.
Yeah, from somewhere there, maybe, yeah, wherever. Yeah. The end of the chromatic, right? Well, it's actually not chromatic anymore, right? It switched, right? So it's easy to just keep doing the chromatic, but at some point, right here, right? Once you get to the F sharp, it no longer is chromatic. So we want to make sure the last four note is clear, right?
Nice. There goes.
I think we have a little fingering issue here. Also, remember chromatic is curved fingers, right? Too hard to play with flat fingers because you're crossing over so much, right? 3, 1, 3. Because you're crossing over the thumb so much, you want to bring your third finger very close to the thumb. The only way to do that is to keep them in a circle. If your fingers are flattened out, your third finger is too far from your thumb. And then when you cross over, it's too clumsy, right? So curve your fingers like crazy. Keep it on one. It's a bit better. Can we do it very, very slowly so we can check your fingering? Do it very slowly. I think there was one place where you had weird finger. Now, before you do it, remember we don't cross. We don't cross long fingers. So you should never be playing 2 and then crossing 3 over to a black note. You
Wow.
can cross over the thumb, that's fine, but don't cross over the second finger. Right? Sometimes people forget, right? So for example, they might do thumb first, right? And then they do 2, and then they do 3. That's what I mean by crossing over the long finger, which is a no-no, right? So here, when you have the 2 white notes, you need to make sure that you do 2 first, followed by 1, and then you can cross over the 3. Okay? I think you do know what I mean. So there was only one time that I saw that bad cross, but then you got better at it. Good. Okay, now do both hands. Now the chromatic again, please.
Yeah.
Much better. Well done. Okay. Then this next section, right, is of course very different, right? It's very expressive, very heartfelt, and you are very sensitive, right? You are definitely paying attention to phrase endings, and it's a very beautiful sound. The
Beautiful.
challenge of this section is to
Wow.
not drag. Okay, what does not drag mean? Sometimes we can be a little bit overly indulgent, right, with our rubato, and then it
Wow.
becomes like the piece is slower and slower, right? So there was a one place where I felt, okay, it's starting to drag a little bit. So he wrote
Wow.
moderato.
Nice.
What's moderato?
Moderato.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Moderato means, well, it's an Italian word, right? So in
The
English,
word. Oh my gosh.
any
Hey.
idea? Do you think, I'll give you a multiple choice. Do you think
Moderato.
moderato means fast, slow, or moderate, medium speed?
Moderate.
Very good, right? So it's moderate speed, right? In other words, it's
Moderate
not even that
speed.
slow, right? But it definitely sounds slow at first compared to the opening, right?
Moderate
What I
speed.
mean is, as you're playing it, right, just keep remembering moderato, right? So
Moderato.
we need to, even after we take a little time, right, at the end of a phrase, we must pick up, okay? So the
Wow.
piece doesn't, this section doesn't feel like it's just taking forever,
Wow.
okay? So that's the first challenge, is to not drag. Second challenge, it's basically something, a melody, a very beautiful melody, right, that repeats itself 4 times, right? But he changes it a little bit each time, right? So it's not always the same. So the
Wow.
challenge is to remember, right, what he's changing, right? So you know what I mean, right? Sometimes it goes, and then sometimes he does, right? Also, there's a decoration, right? And then sometimes it's even, that's still different. Do you see the difference? So the dotted rhythm, bum, da, dum, right? Sometimes is that we do, but sometimes we don't do the dotted rhythm. Sometimes it's even, and then sometimes we have the, and sometimes we don't, right? So knowing which version is where, that's kind of hard, right? And then also, of course, the bass note. Is the bass note a D flat? Is the bass note an A flat? Right? Because sometimes the same note gets harmonized differently, right? Sometimes he harmonizes the A flat with the D flat, but sometimes he harmonizes, right, with the A flat. So knowing which bass note to play is also another challenge, right?
Wow.
Okay,
Nice.
so the beginning of this part is largo, right? So that is kind of slow, but now it's moderato, right? So like I said, don't drag, right? Keep the flow. Even after some rubato, make sure you pick up, right? Now I'm gonna do a little rubato here, of course, but make sure you then pick it up, right? Pick it up, pick it up. See what I mean, right?
Wow.
Okay, let's try it again, right? Go back to the dong, 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 the largo section.
Ooh.
And this time I'll stop it, okay? Now, moderato. Okay. Oh, that's a little bit late, right? Right, so the E flat should go there. Yes, exactly. So after this note, right? Not, that's too late, right? So, right? So it's a little polyrhythm there going.
Wow.
Better. Now pick it up again. Hold it, hold it. Oh, can you do that again? I wasn't convinced. that's an example of the wrong bass note. So it's E flat now, right? Not A flat, right? So we've had this da 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 before, and it wasn't the same bass note. That's what I'm talking about, right? The first time it was D flat, and the second time it was A flat. This is the third time it's E flat. So see,
Yeah.
3 times it's different, right? Exactly, that bass note is different.
Wow. Nice. Ooh.
That's right. So this is the one that's not dotted, right? Previously, the other 2 times they were dotted. Dun, dun, dun. The very first time, perhaps you don't need to take so much time, right? Just let the music be. Because that's the first time we heard it, right? So the dot is quite obvious. Then the second time we decorate the dot, right? So we have that and then the third time we still have the decoration, but the D flat comes earlier now, right? So it isn't dotted. So the D flat is quite emphasized. Whereas the other 2 times, the D flat was a 16th note, right? So this is the third time. Right? Show me the third time. Go. No, your D flat is slightly too late, right? One more time. Good. That was great, right? That was beautiful. I really liked how gentle you actually play that C, right? That was gorgeous, right? Now, try, Kodi, to play this E flat with your thumb. Could you?
Oh yeah.
Right? Because that's such a big interval, right? Thumb is the easiest finger to get to, right? The most effortless finger to get to, I think, anyway, right? So give it a try. Remember, we want to use your thumb more. Go.
Wow.
Yes, you can do it. Trust your thumb. No, see? Again, this is one of these places. Previously, there was a dum, da 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 dum. That is true, not this time. This one is dum, da 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 dum, da 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 da. It's so close, right? Dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum. The harmony is not different, right? But the choice are different. Exactly, that's what he wants this time. Good. Good job. All right. Well done. Okay. So now we cleaned up this middle section, and let's play the presto, the next section, right? This time you can tone down the left hand, right? Earlier we deliberately played the left hand much louder, right? To make sure that the notes are clear, that they didn't ghost out, right? Especially the last 2 or 3 notes of the measure. So you were very conscientious of it now. You did exactly what I asked. So now we can play more musically by, of course, keeping the left hand quiet again, right? But not so quiet that I can't hear it, right? Like I said, I gotta still know that those 2 notes were there, okay? But you can focus back on the right hand now. Okay? Which of course is very hard, right? So much going on. Not easy to do. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
problem, right? So I think you're not using your pinky enough. Pinky, pinky. Okay, this one doesn't have to be pinky. This will be four, right? But I think you were doing fourth finger on this G sharp, so that involved too much of a stretch, right? So use pinky.
Wow.
Show me this, right?
Wow.
Right hand. No, that's the note you need to use pinky because you missed it with the fourth finger. Pinky here, because that's a big gap. See? Pinky is the best, right? If you do fourth finger, you are stretching it, and then you take the wrist, right? Take the wrist, stretch it, and you're so lucky all the time, right? So you miss the note. Use the pinky. Now this one can be 4. Why? Because the gap is small. It's only a third, so 3, 2, 4. That one is logical. Fourth finger is good for that one, but not this one. That has to be 5, no doubt. This has to be 5, no doubt. This is 4. Okay, you were not using the 5 enough time. Show me the right hand again. See how clear those left hand notes now are, right? Big difference compared to the beginning of the lesson today. Like I said, right? You absolutely understand what I was talking about, and you did do exactly what I asked, right? Which was to focus on the left hand to clean up those notes. Now you can refocus on the right hand, okay? Now I did hear you trying, right, to bring out a different note, right? At first we bring out the thumb, right? Bring out the thumb, right? That's what we do, right? Thumb is important. And then we bring out the one. The pinky, right? So I did hear it, but could I hear it even more clearly, right? So when it switches to the pinky, can we hear that pinky just sparkle a little bit more, right? That's right. Listen to the pinky. Okay, maybe you are doing it, but I can't really see it clearly. When you are trying to focus on the pinky, make sure you don't hold on to the thumb. Earlier, we were holding onto the thumb on purpose because we want the note to be important, right? So we almost finger pedal the thumb, right? Well, don't do it now because we're not trying to focus on the thumb. In fact, you should finger pedal the pinky, right? So once you play the pinky, feel free to hold it a bit, right? But don't hold it what we are supposed to do. Focus on the pinky now.
Nice. Wow. Nice.
And don't hold the other fingers, only the pinky. Alright, both hands, please. sense of brilliance, right? So crescendo is quite important here. Yes, right? Now, the trick is to find the A, right? If you can easily get to the A, right? You'll be okay, right? I didn't hear the last four notes clear, right? Remember, I shouldn't hear F natural, right? F sharp is the N, and then E. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's the idea, right? You could be a lot more energetic about it though, right? So this is the coda, right? At first, it should be very, very loud, right? So double forte, he says. Right? So the da 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 is rather energetic. Okay. Yes, double forte. All right, Kodi. Well, to be continued.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for working hard, as you always do. Right? And I'll see you next time.
Woohoo!